Uh, so what we're saying is rivalry. So rivalry is that the fact that I'm consuming something restricting others from consuming it. So the easiest example is Apple. Actually, it goes for anything which is a very this typical idea that if I consume, then the other cannot. Now, don't think that you know that, or rather uh, think in this line, and I'll give examples that there are commodities which are quite common to our daily life, and yet which fall into one of these categories. Okay, so it's not really true that if something becomes non-rival, it automatically becomes non-exclusive. Okay, they are different ideas. All right, non-exclusive means the access cannot be restricted. All right, so that is the kind of a boundary. Everyone can enter. Now the question is, given everyone has entered, is it the fact that if one start consuming, it will be less that will be available for the other? Okay, so that gives the idea of rivalry. If it is not, then there is no rivalry. If it is, then there is rivalry. So a single apple cannot be eaten by a lot of individuals simultaneously. So that means consumption of an apple or consuming apple as an act, it is rival. So apple is a rival good. Okay. Now let's look at some of the examples which satisfy one of these. All right. So let's look at that. So first we'll look at the example of non-exclusive but rival. So what is non-exclusive but rival? I don't know whether you have been to Nandan too to watch any kind of those famous difficult movies. So I went there once, I think. So in Nandan 2, the show was free. So it was a free movie show. So the access to the show, the access was there for everybody. So it was non-exclusive. Okay. And as it was non-exclusive, we were sitting on the floors because it was non-exclusive. But the fact that we are sitting on the floors is because the sitting, okay, it has a rivalry because two individuals cannot sit on a single chair simultaneously. So you have non-exclusion, but you have rivalry when it comes to attending a free movie show. Okay, so that's one of the example. Now the other, which is exclusive but non-rival. Now the example to this is quite common to your life. So let's say Netflix or Amazon Prime, right? Or Hotstar, or whatever names you can kind of recollect just now. So all of them are exclusive. Why they're exclusive? Because if you don't have an account, or in more popular terms, if you don't have an ID password, right? So you cannot really watch Netflix. But if your friend is watching Netflix, that doesn't restrict you to watch on Netflix. Okay. The classic example was actually cable TV. So on kind of Friday or Saturday night at 10:30, if you go to a suburban town, you will find that everybody who has access to Zee Bangla, each one of them is watching the same show, which is Dadagiri. So what I'm talking about is that everybody is watching it. So there is no rivalry, right? One is watching doesn't mean that other cannot watch. But the access to that requires money, and that creates the exclusivity. Okay? All right. So generally we also have a we generally we also I use the term which is called club good. Okay, so club good basically means that if you become a member of let's say international club or Calcutta club or places like that, or trolley club for example, so there is, that's obviously exclusive. No, not everybody can join there. Okay, so you need money, you buy membership and you join a club. Now after you join the club, then there are facilities which has no rival, because all of the members can enjoy the same facility. Okay, so goods which are so the goods which are exclusive and rival, then there are non-exclusive but rival, exclusive but non-rival. And then comes public good. Public good is something which is non-exclusive and non-rival at the same time. So anyone can access it, and anyone's consumption is not going to reduce any others. So non-exclusive and non-rival, this is public good. So we define public good in that way. Public good is something which is both non-exclusive and non-rival. The easiest example is air to breathe. So that is non-exclusive and non-rival. Just because I'm standing here and you going to a park doesn't really restrict others to going to a park, as long as entering that park is free. And to the extent of consuming or breathing air, since you are breathing air, that doesn't really mean that no one can, right? So that's the trivial but classic example. And the reason is that now with climate change, air to breathe has become a concern. Okay, so you have people wearing masks and suggesting to wear masks, and suggesting not to go out in winter mornings for a morning walk, even before all this coronavirus and all of that thing, because the pollution levels are that high. In Delhi, it was so high that people never needed, people just used to cough when they're outside house. Okay, they used to drive cars with closed windows, not because there is, not because of summer, not because of heat, just because of pollution. All right. Okay, so now you can understand where is the problem. And the real problem is not polluted air. The real problem, as we just said, is that because it is a public good, there is no way that we can attach responsibilities if the people are not willing to take. So for example, Paris Accord. Paris Accord was meant to reduce the temperature of this globe so that it becomes more livable. Okay, but United States said that we will not follow, and that's it. So if someone says not to follow, there is no way really you can kind of ask that country to follow suit. And the problem is severe because it's climate or air, this kind of thing. They're pollution of those entities. The problem created by polluted air, it's not limited to a zone. Okay, so if there is some forest fire in one of the countries having rainforest, that actually that actually becomes a problem to the neighboring country, because all of these, they don't follow our rules, right? Okay, so here we are looking at externality, and then the next topic that we'll be looking at will be public good. The our job includes merely two things. Number one is to identify the nature of externalities. Okay, and number two is to find means to solve the problem. Okay. So that's the thing. Anyway, so externality is a problem. I mean, externality is a concern because the, I will have another definition for you, which will make the thing very clear, make the problem very clear that we are trying to solve. Externality is the fact that the decision maker, okay, the decision maker does not bear all the costs and benefits or benefits, all the costs or, so does not bear all the costs or reap all the gains, all the gains from her actions. So the decision maker does not bear all the costs or reap all the gains from her actions. So you pollute and then you go to your nice farmhouse. That's the kind of scenario that we're talking about. Okay. All right. So this is the externality, and we just want them to bear the cost or reap the benefits. That's what we want. All right. Now, like many other concepts, externality can be of also primarily of two types. Okay. One is negative externality. Negative externality, which basically means that creating harm. Okay. So wait. Okay. So negative externalities. This is basically means creating harm in small words. So we're looking at polluting farms, polluting people, or people making noise and all of that. Okay, then obviously there is positive externalities. So that means the opposite thing. So creating benefits for the others. Okay, so creating benefits for the others. Okay. All right. And there is one other kind of externality that we have studied earlier, which is called network externality, which is not the topic we are going to study, right? Network externality, which included effects like bandwagon, snob, etc. All right. Okay, but that's also an externality. Okay. Okay. Now, one important thing to understand is that given an action, given an economic activity, an aspect that I was talking in the earlier session, that given an economic activity, it can create positive externality and negative externality at the same time. Okay, at the same time. So there can be one activity which is liked by many people and not liked by others. Okay. One of the easiest example is loud music in festivals. So it becomes positive externalities for many people and it becomes negative externalities for many. So the perspective or the way a productive action or any action, so to say, affects and the ability to kind of reciprocate the fact that I am the victim. These are two important things which are here in externality. Okay, so we are talking about the first one. We are talking about the first one, and about the second one, we are assuming that unless somebody is saying, why will we be able to do? Why will be asked to solve the problem in the first case? Okay. All right. Now, in a sense, externality creates interdependence. See, in consumer behavior, in classical demand theory, okay, when we studied classical demand theory, we studied individuals, okay, and their utility maximizations in isolation. So individual I, when it maximized its utility, it doesn't matter how many others are there. But now, due to externality, there is interdependence among consumers as well as producers, depending on the problem. Okay. So now you cannot really open your window and you can breathe the air and really feel good, because clean air, it has the problem of interdependence. So if you have a factory nearby, then it is better that you close the window, right? Okay, so now this is the interdependence which leads to the problem of which breaks the relation between perfect competition and efficiency. Okay, this is the problem. This is interdependence. Okay, now the way we will go through this chapter, okay, and we'll talk about those in some of the next classes. Okay, so there will be three examples. One is producer, one is two producers. Number two is producer and consumer. Number three is two consumers. Okay. All right. Now, okay. So